Welcome back to all of you who stuck around for these past 2 years. I'm back again. Look at this. It's been so long that I wasn't even wearing the right shirt. I had to go change, put on the shirt. Let me do this all over again. So clearly, it's been a while. Wasn't even wearing the right shirt. Had to re-record. And yes, a lot has happened, but I'm gonna try to bring the podcast back. Let me catch you up on a lot of what has happened in these 2 years. By the way, I filmed the same exact video. My notes are right here a year ago. I filmed it exactly 1 year ago, but I never edited it. I never published it. Again, this is part of what's been happening these past 2 years. A lot happening in my mind, a lot of insecurity, a lot of just other reasons, a lot of emotions of why I wasn't able to follow through. But I hope this time I'm gonna follow through. Yes, it's been a little bit different. I know, look, kind of messy here. Look at this. Heat dish to keep me warm because we don't want to turn on the heater in here because it gets very expensive. So the room is a little bit of a mess, and I'll show you a picture of that and explain a little bit more about that later. But for those of you who have stuck around for these past 2 years, maybe this video showed up on your YouTube feed and you're like, whoa, this channel is still alive? Yeah, it is, kind of. I mean, we'll see what happens. And for those who clicked on this, thanks for watching. And for those of you who don't know, about 2 years ago, I started a Kickstarter. I did a Kickstarter and it failed, kind of. So in Kickstarter, I set a goal and we tried to launch this cross-truth brand. I had like these cool graphics and I made this video and I was really excited. It was gonna be kind of church strategy and a podcast, Korean drama reviews, all this cool stuff, kids channel, and it failed. But the reason why I say kind of is because if you don't know, in Kickstarter, you have a goal, and unless you reach your goal, you don't get any of the money you fundraised. And I didn't hit my goal. So it failed in that sense. It kind of didn't fail in another sense because my friend kind of told me about this and I thought it was a good perspective. And he was just trying to encourage me that, hey, I actually did raise a lot of money. I raised over a little bit more than half of where my goal was supposed to be. And he was just trying to encourage me, telling me that you got all these people who supported you, who kind of wanted to see you succeed and got your back. And you should be really proud of that. And I think about that, and I do think that's kind of cool. However, it failed, and I didn't get any of that money. A lot of that money was going to be used for buying some camera gear so I could do the podcast and perhaps try to get some things going. But because I didn't raise any of the money, I couldn't get any gear. So it really just slowed me down a lot. I mean, I know creatively it shouldn't have mattered. I could have just done it with my phone. But just psychologically, it was really tough for me. I didn't hit my goal, so therefore, I kind of tried to pivot and try to redesign what I was going to do moving forward. So I know I talked about this a little bit. It's in my first episode of the podcast, but yeah, it took me a couple months to kind of get into a good place. And once I did, I started recording these videos. And I tried to get this podcast going. But honestly, even when I think about what happened to me 2 years ago, it doesn't really bring up good feelings still. It's kind of like one of those things where the vase is cracked, glued back together, but the cracks are still there. And so even till this day, when I think about it, it's a little bit difficult, but way better, much, much better before. I'm way better than where I was before. And so I'm moving forward. It's been good. So mentally, I'm good. I'm moving forward. I'm trying to figure things out. But yes, it was a time in my life that was very challenging. So in these past 2 years, after the Kickstarter failed, what have I been doing? I have been actually applying to different churches. There were a couple of churches that I applied to. Some of them passed. One church, it was kind of weird actually. They were almost gonna hire me, but they passed on me. And that is a weird story. And maybe I'll make a video about that sometime later. Still trying to find work, still trying to find the right church, a healthy church, to find the right fit for my family. And it's been a journey. By the way, have any of you ever felt lost before in life? Like you didn't have a direction, you don't know what to do. Maybe you went through a similar experience like I did. Comment down below. Let me know what it was. Let's talk about it. So I'm on this journey trying to find a pastoral position in a church. Again, lots out there, but is it healthy? Is it good for my family? Those are kind of the variables that I think about when trying to find the right church to apply to. So what's happening now? Well, right now I am in my wife's business. This is her business, Paper Haven Shop. By the way, Paper Haven Shop, go follow her on Instagram. One of the best graphic designers and print shops. You should check her out. Been doing a lot of ideation in these past 2 years. And that's actually kind of a weakness of mine because I get so lost in the ideas. And then I'm like a perfectionist and I don't really execute and follow through on a lot of the ideas because I just try to keep on making the idea as best as possible. So a lot of ideas have been happening. But one of the ideas that I actually did follow through on, and some of you might know this, is that last year I actually did launch the kids channel. I launched the kids channel. It was last year. I started in December. Actually, I started in November, I think. And it's been really, really fun. I did it for my kids. My kids and I watched it together. They enjoyed it. At least I think some of them enjoyed it. And it was really fun. But it went on a pause because right around, I think it was like in March or April, I got sick. And so I stopped filming. And then after that week I got sick, my brother-in-law got married. So we took this trip to go to his wedding. And I came back from that. And then like I got sick again. And so there was like 2 or 3 weeks where I stopped filming and I was just trying to recover. And for those of you who do editing work or any type of creative work, when you take a long break like that, it's really hard to get back into the groove of things. And so because those 2 or 3 weeks went by, I don't know, just mentally, I just got out of it and it was hard to get back into filming. I was like in the middle of an idea or like in the middle of a series. And if, for those of you who follow on, you know, I kind of left as a huge cliffhanger. I didn't finish off my storyline. And I do have the whole storyline in my head. I actually have one more video to do. And again, I have it all in my head. It's scripted. All I have to do is film it. But just for some reason, it was so hard to get back into this room right here and film it. And as time went by, I just lost motivation. It was just really hard to get that spark going again. And then on top of that, something happened here at my wife's work where my wife was going to start doing some workshops. And so the room that I was filming in turned into a storage room. We had to move everything out from this room into this room. And so here are some pictures. You can see this whole room now is filled with a bunch of stuff. And so I don't have space anymore to film it. My green screen is kind of like still in the same spot, but just there's no room for me to film those videos. So the podcast is coming back, but it's going to change a little bit. And I'm trying to think through on different ways and how I could do it. But one of the things that I'm really going to be focusing on here is church strat videos. So what I'm going to do here on the podcast is really focus first on church strategy. There's so many ideas that I have. And in these past 2 years, as I was applying to different churches and just really thinking about church ministry, different ministries inside the church, structure, leadership. By the way, there was a church recently that I went into to do some leadership coaching and it didn't really get finished. There's a whole story behind that. I had like this whole thing planned, and because I never got to fully finish it, I kind of felt like, you know what? I'm just going to share it here. I'm going to just provide kind of what I was working on and give you some of those ideas. And then perhaps I can make more videos on church strategy. Because again, I've been thinking a lot about strategy, structure, leadership, the church as a whole. And so we're going to focus on that. I do want to do the Korean drama reviews. I just don't know how to do it. If you have some ideas on how I can do it, please let me know in the comments down below. And another question is, do you guys think Korean drama reviews would work if it was just like shorts? That's like the 90-second to 3-minute videos. That was what I was thinking about. Let me know if that'll work. But in the beginning, I will focus on church strat videos. If you have questions about church strategy, leadership, ministries in specific, please let me know. Write me some questions down in the comments, and that'll help me produce more videos on those actual questions that you have. Yeah. Yes. One of the things that kind of delayed the podcast when I was trying to bring in guests and things like that is that I was originally filming on a DJI Pocket 2, but the DJI Pocket 2 shuts off. It actually overheats because when the Pocket is recording for a long time, the gimbal on the Pocket, it gets just tired. I think it gets really, really hot, and then it just kind of shuts off. I noticed that when I was filming my kids' Bible devotional videos, because sometimes I'd be recording for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I go back to turn off the camera or stop recording, and I noticed like, oh my gosh, it shut off on me. And then so I would have to go back. I have no idea when it shut off and re-record a lot of those parts. So that got me started thinking about how the DJI Pocket 2 probably isn't the best camera to use for long form video recording. And so that's one of the reasons why I haven't had guests here. I'm not doing kind of the format that I originally wanted to do. So what am I recording on right now? This is now Insta360 X3. I'm recording on that. This is actually not also a very good camera to use for long form video recording. I did some research. I looked at some videos, see kind of the longest time people have been able to record on this without the battery dying. And it looks like it could last around anywhere from 71 minutes to like 120 minutes. Again, people had different experiences, but this is what I'm using. And so again, I don't really have the gear to bring on guests, but I am thinking about different formats to maybe bring some guests in, maybe through like Riverside, which is like an online video recording platform. But that's the reason why I haven't done some of my ideas. It's really hard to do it because my camera was shutting off. And so I didn't want to get into it and experience all that frustration. So yeah, for those of you who are watching this, you stay subscribed. Thanks guys, I appreciate it. Let other people know. I'm going to be doing church strategy videos here in the beginning. Hopefully some of the other stuff is going to come through. But if you have questions about the church, let me know. Let's talk about it. I'm going to share everything that I know, everything I experienced, everything that I studied in these past 20 years, and just give it to you. And hopefully you can use it at your churches. But stay tuned for a future video because there is a huge shift happening in the Korean American church, especially here in California. I don't know if it's happening on the East Coast. It might have already happened, or they're going through it right now too. But this shift is huge, and I will make a video about it soon in the future, so stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one.